Big picture, multifamily has been rather slow for a few years when we look at performance. So we had a very large run up in rents, about 24% over 2 years coming out of the pandemic. But since 2023, rent growth has been very slow. We just got our 6 month numbers. So through the first half of the year, multifamily rent growth was 1%, 1.0%. Occupancy, the national occupancy rate has decreased 60 basis points over the last 12 months, and it's now at 94.1%. So that indicates kind of a slowness. But of course, nationally, what really matters is regional. So over the last few years, the rent growth has been fairly consistent in the Northeast and the Midwest. And over the last year or so, in the primary markets, San Francisco, Chicago, and New York, over the last 12 months have been the top rent growth markets in the country. Demand is still strong there, and they don't have a lot of supply. Meanwhile, the high growth markets in the Sun Belt and the Mountain West have struggled on a rent growth basis. They still are the top markets when it comes to absorption and demand, but because they've had a very high supply growth over the last few years, rent growth has turned negative, or new asking rent growth has turned negative. So one way we can measure that is by looking at the number of properties in the lease-up phase. So these are properties that have been completed but haven't yet stabilized. And you can see between 2020 and 2024, 25, the number of properties that are in that phase just about doubled. It's gone down a little bit over the last year, but it's still, close to 1.2 million units nationally in lease up. And this is not like evenly spread out across the country. The markets that have the high supply growth is, where there's this high number of lease ups. And what that means is that tenants have a lot of choices and apartment owners have to compete for tenants. We're seeing increased number of concessions in some of those markets. And we're also seeing like the trade out data. These are the change in rents from properties that are vacant and get released. You can see in a lot of markets, they're negative and 4, -6%. So when we're looking at, I get asked all the time, hey, when are rents going to start increasing again in the Sun Belt? And I look at data like this and I think, it's still going to take a little bit of time. The good news is that renewal trade outs are still good. So properties are still getting increases in income from renewing leases. The average national rate is about 2.5%. So that's good, but there is some weakness.